Have you ever gone all in on something, like all the way? A new workout plan, a new business idea, new routine, new mindset? You're waking up early, you've got all the energy in the world, and you're locked in. Then, out of nowhere, it just stops. Not slowly, not gradually, just freaking gone. So, think of it this way: you're standing in the kitchen at 2 a.m., surrounded by $400 worth of specialized equipment for a hobby that you have not touched in 3 days. Yesterday, you were going to be the next Picasso. Tonight, you're just a person with a lot of expensive acrylic paint and a deep sense of betrayal. And you're standing there like, what the hell happened? I was doing so good. Well, if you have ADHD, there's a reason for this. So let's talk about it. This is Wild Focus. But before we jump into today's episodes, I want to thank everyone who has reached out about how much they've enjoyed the content so far. I've had people reach out that have been recently diagnosed with ADHD, and they've openly shared their struggles before and after being diagnosed. And I honestly have enjoyed hearing all of those stories. And if you're somebody that has ADHD and this content is reaching you, please feel free to reach out and share your story. I would love to connect and hear all about it. And if you're listening, please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast wherever you listen to your podcast. You can also follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. You can also follow my company, Weekend and Wild, on all those platforms as well. And then just a reminder, my ugly mug is going to be on YouTube now doing these video podcasts. So if you haven't yet, check that out, like, subscribe, all that as well too. I'd really appreciate it. But let's jump in because today I'm going to talk about something that hits every single person that has ADHD. And if you're somebody in my life, you probably already know I am 1,000% guilty of this. And in fact, my wife called me out on this in her wedding vows on our wedding day in front of all of our friends and loved ones. But we're going to address why we start so strong and then fall off. And this happens a lot with just basically new hobbies, new anything that we find very passionate up front, and then poof, it's gone in a matter of weeks. But before we really like jump in, like let's talk about like the science behind this, and let's be clear about something right up front. This is not a discipline issue. It's I know it feels like that, but I also know that like it's what people tell us as well too. But it's not. In an ADHD brain, we all have lower levels of dopamine transporters. So we've talked about dopamine, but just to put it in a different like kind of light, think of dopamine as fuel. It's that fuel that gets you from the couch to the task. For a neurotypical brain, that fuel pump, that just stays on the entire time. But for us with ADHD, once that novelty high wears off, that fuel pump, it doesn't just slow down. It starts charging us like a damn tax just to turn the key. Our brain is wired to chase novelty, not consistency. And when something is new, a new routine, a new idea, a new challenge, our brains light up like the 4th of July and that dopamine spikes. That's why the beginning feels so good. That's why you feel completely unstoppable. But here's the catch: the moment that becomes predictable, becomes a routine, and it becomes expected, our brains stop rewarding it. It's the same activity, the same goal, same intention, but now it just feels heavier. It feels a lot harder than what it was just a matter of weeks ago. And let's make this real. Let me put this into like everyday terms and scenarios. So January 1st rolls around. You start going to the gym. It's week 1, you are dialed in. Week 2, you're still showing up, you're going strong, you start picturing those results. Week 3 comes around though, and it feels like you're trying to like drag a truck uphill, Rocky Balboa style. It's the same gym, same time, same goal, but it just feels completely different. We can also look at it like this. So your brain is a high end Hollywood producer. You got this huge budget for the action packed pilot episode that's going to bring everybody in. But by episode 3, if there's not any explosions or plot twists, that producer cuts the entire funding and moves the entire crew onto a different set. And in this scenario, you're not the director. You're the lead actor who is standing there wondering why the fuck the catering tent just disappeared. Or let's simplify it even more to a project that you're obsessed with. You start it, you plan it, you build it, and then one day you just stop opening it or going to that area in your home that you had it set up. In all these cases, the worst part is you still care. And that is what really fucks with your head. Because if you didn't care, that would just make sense. But you do. You just can't stay consistent with it. So what do? You restart over and over. And eventually you start thinking, maybe I'm just not somebody who finishes things. Or maybe this isn't for me after all. Well, I want to say, get that shit out of your head right now because that is not true. You're just using a neurotypical system with an ADHD brain. So here's the truth most of us just miss. And it's a shift that has changed a lot of things for me because ADHD is not about not caring. It's about not being stimulated enough to act consistently. And you don't have a motivational problem, you have a stimulation threshold. When something is exciting, new, challenging, you show up as your best self. You're focused, you're locked in, all the way in. But when that drops below that stimulation line, your brain wants the check, it's ready to go, Irish goodbye type setup. Okay. Not because you're lazy and not because you lack discipline, but because your brain literally says to you, this is not worth the energy to me anymore. And that's the part that's hard to swallow. And that's the part that I feel like we don't talk about enough and we don't dive into enough. And that's why those traditional pieces of advice just don't work. And you know what I'm talking about. It's the just be consistent, just build discipline, and just push through it. Again, that works for people whose brain rewards repetition. Yours, mine, it does not. So we stop trying to force it. And instead we build a system that actually works for us and how we are wired. So let's slow it down and let's talk about a strategy guide. Like, how do we fix this? Because this is where things can truly change for us and we can feel that impact. Because once you understand the problem, you can actually build around it. So the first thing is the rotation method. So stop trying to do the same thing forever. Your brain fucking hates you for doing this. So instead, rotate it. For example, if it's workouts, change the location, change the style, change how the intensity of your workouts. If it's at work, then change your environment if you can. Instead of going to the same old office, choose a different office. Choose an office with a view. Choose to sit by somebody. Choose the body doubling way of attacking ADHD and focus and motivation. Change how you approach your workday altogether. Again, it's the same goal, but it's a different path to getting there. This keeps your brain engaged without abandoning the outcome. Another one is gamify everything. Your brain loves progress, competition, and reward. So give it that. Track any streaks in your days. Track, set little mini challenges throughout the day as well to create a point system instead of, oh, maybe not points, or if you Do if you focus and get at least half of this project done this hour, get yourself a little sweet treat, something that you enjoy that can actually help bring you back in to continue it after you get that reward. Turn your life into a game because if it feels like a game, you're gonna keep showing up because again, we tend to be a lot more competitive than others as well. This one up front, I'll admit, kind of feels like a little bit of a cop out, but it isn't. And hear me out. Lower the floor, not the ceiling. And what I mean by that is most people try to stay consistent by setting high standards. That doesn't really work for us. And so instead, mark your bare minimum. So easy, if it's easy, you can't fail at it. Again, let's go back to the gym example. Instead of focusing and trying to nail a 1 hour workout routine, make a goal just to walk through the damn doors and get past the check in stand or whatever. Clearly, I don't work out, so I don't know what that is. But wherever they stay in your membership, yeah, if you can make it past there, you've won that day. Okay. And a lot of the times too, with ADHD brains, the moment you start something, you tend to typically do more. So again, if you just get to the gym and get past that desk, you've kind of won and you're already kind of motivated to keep pushing on. But even if you don't, you didn't break the habit though. So consistency isn't about intensity. It's about not disappearing. Build novelty on purpose. Don't wait for motivation. Create it. So for me, I'll go back a few years when I was making movies, when I was making films, I in the beginning to motivate me, if I was in the writing process, I would have my team build or create, sorry, a movie poster for the film I was writing. And it would be just something simple, just a working concept art, if you will. But when I saw that, I kept pushing myself. I kept being motivated to get to that end goal by having that visual reminder of this is what I'm working for, working towards. That is, and that would carry me through the all the way up to the production standpoint when we were starting like real pre-production and starting to plan things. And I would continue to look at it, get motivated. If I was falling off, I would have them create more of a official movie poster because again, it's something new. It triggers my brain as that new, and that continued to help get me through everything. Now, when I was doing films, the reason why I loved it so much is because I wore so many hats that every day was new, every day was exciting on set, different interactions, working with different people, different challenges. I loved it. But again, it's the planning aspect that was the hardest for me. And that's why again I found a way to challenge myself and motivate myself. And it was as simple as having a movie poster made up to remind me what that end goal was. But you can also look into planning something new every single week. So a new environment, new format, a new challenge. You're not cheating a system here. You're just working with your brain. You're creating one that works perfectly with your brain. I want to acknowledge that it's easy to hear all of this and think, man, this makes things harder. But the truth is our brains were built for intensity. When you're locked in, we're energy. We bring creativity, obsession, but in the best way. The goal isn't to become consistent like everybody else. It's to build a system where you can keep coming back because that right there is the game. It's not perfection. It's not never falling off, but it's always about getting back on. So if you've been starting and stopping, starting and stopping, starting and stopping, remember that your brain is not broken. You just didn't have the right system built yet. Now, hopefully, you have found a few things that you that can help you find what this looks like. And if you have, Or if you have different things that have worked for you in the past, comment, let me know. I would love to hear it. Always looking for something new to try. Again, since I was diagnosed um, back in October of 25, I am consistently looking for new information and new ways to help manage my symptoms with ADHD. I am always constantly learning. I'm always trying to help others learn as well by letting them know what I've gone through and what the things I've learned so far. And that's exactly why I'm doing this podcast as well too. I'm clearly obviously not a licensed professional. I'm just somebody who is living this every single day and trying to get better every single day for myself, for my loved ones around me. I'm always trying to push myself to do better. And I know if you have ADHD, you have a lot of the same feelings. So that's why I hope to hear from you. I hope that we can continue to learn our brains and help each other manage symptoms. Wow. It's early in the morning. I apologize, folks. And I hope that we can do it in a way that builds community and builds understanding and we have an outreach because again, ADHD is very much real. It is a mental health condition. It is classified as a disability, but it's one that we can learn and we can grow and use to our advantage. And we can do this together. So I appreciate you all for listening. This is Wild Focus.